Juntang is having a sleepover with his friends at his house when he suddenly realizes that the drinks are almost finished. He stands up and is about to head outside when his friend Zhu stops him and asks him where he is going. Juntang answers her that they are out of drinks, which makes Zhu realize that her can is almost empty too, so she asks him to bring extra for her as well and promises to pay him back in the future. Juntang nods his head and looks around to see if anyone wants to request something else, but after receiving no indication, he walks outside and closes the door behind him. However, in his heart, he wanted her to come with him, and by her, he meant his roommate Xian, who is 1 year older than him. Luckily, his wish is granted to him as Xian asks him to stop as she wants to head to the convenience store to get some ice cream for herself as well. Seeing that Xian is going to come with him makes Juntang very happy. He tells her that why not get a family pack as they can keep eating for a very long time. But this makes Xian ask him if he will stop her from eating it, to which Juntang replies that why would he? It would be better for her to gain some weight so she can shake the unwanted attention. Hearing his answer makes Xian tease him as she calls him dirty-minded. While chatting with each other, their hands come close as they hold hands with each other. It would take an average rom-com couple 12 episodes to do it. This stuff is going fast and furious. Xian immediately pulls Juntang into an alley and leans forward to kiss him, but seeing that he is not hesitating, she backs away and tells him that he gives her hope. So how did these two roommates come to do stuff like this while still not dating each other? Let's find out by going back to the past. One day, Juntang is traveling to his home from university when he receives a text from his childhood friend Zhu, who he has always liked. Juntang is very happy as he learns that Zhu will be readmitted to his university. She was also the reason Juntang was admitted into this university, so hearing this news makes him feel as if he is at the highest sky. Zhu tells him if he wants to meet her, to which Juntang immediately agrees. But before that, he looks at his clothes and decides to head home to change them first. Outside his house, he finds Xian standing in front of the gate. He doesn't pay her attention as he doesn't know her and heads inside to get ready for his date with Zhu. After changing, he comes outside and finds that Xian is still standing there. He asks her what she's doing here but doesn't receive a response, so he just decides to not pay attention and move on. But he realizes that he has seen her somewhere before and goes into his memory vault, which makes him remember that she is a member of a famous idol group called Dream Suite. But he still wants to confirm it, so he asks her, to which Xian replies that she is indeed that idol. But before Juntang can say anything, she rushes towards him with a lighter in her hand. She slams it towards Juntang's face but stops just before his head. She asks him why he didn't flinch, to which Juntang reminds her that he can call the police on her for her psychopathic behavior. But Xian rebukes him by saying that she can just tell the police that he is stalking her. Realizing that the government will probably favor the women in this case, Juntang immediately apologizes to her. After asking her to get inside as it's cold outside, he runs away as he is getting late to meet Zhu. Soon, Juntang arrives at the restaurant where Zhu is waiting for him. They quickly head inside as it's very cold outside. While they are having dinner, Juntang asks Zhu if she got a boyfriend in these years. But Zhu replies that she is still single, which makes Juntang happy as he asks her if she wants to hang out with him at his place where they can Netflix and chill. Zhu replies that she will see if she's free and gets ready to leave. Later, Juntang arrives at his house where he notices that Xian is still standing outside in the cold, shivering. After seeing that Juntang is here, she warns him to not tell a soul that she lives here and then heads inside. Juntang runs after her, only to find her unconscious on the ground. He immediately calls an ambulance to help Xian. The following morning, Juntang wakes up from the sound of the doorbell and walks inside his room to find Xian standing outside with bags of food in her hands as she offers to eat with him. Juntang is shocked to see her being kind to him out of nowhere, but he knows that no one is kind to a person without any reason, so he declines her offer. The following day, Juntang heads to university as the new semester starts. After the class, he texts Zhu if she wants to grab lunch with him, but Zhu declines as she replies that she is busy. Juntang is staring at the screen as his friends notice that he is talking to a girl and start to tease him that he got rejected by her. Juntang tries to save his respect by saying that he didn't mean in that way and blah blah. As he has nothing to do at university, Juntang heads home where he finds Xian outside once again, who asks him about how his first day of the new semester went. Juntang doesn't say anything and heads inside, constantly reminding himself that women won't show kindness without a reason. The following few days, Xian keeps pestering him, but Juntang always ignores her. But this doesn't stop Xian, who continues to have a chat with him, but Juntang always runs away after reminding himself that beautiful women are nothing but trouble. Later, Juntang is at university thinking how lovely it would be if he was chased by Zhu all day and not a shady stalker like Xian. However, he soon comes to regret thinking about Xian as the next moment she comes to his classroom to look for him. Meanwhile, all the students are shocked by her beauty and elegance. Juntang feels as if someone has poured a bucket of cold water over his head. Xian looks around and finds Juntang on his seat, so she walks towards him as she greets him politely. Junting looks around and notices that everyone is staring at them, so he grabs Xian's hands and runs away. Somewhere in the university, he asks her why she is there and how she even knows he studied there. Xian answered that she heard him mention his university name when he talked to the police on the phone. Junting realizes this and can't believe that he doxed himself. But he decides that it's enough, so he tells Xian that he already loves someone and can't be with her. Xian laughs after hearing his answer and tells him that she is not in love with him and that she just wants to become friends as she has no friends here. She mentions that something happened in the idol group, so she had to leave and stay alone for some time to improve herself. After hearing this, Junting decides to befriend her and even exchanges contact information. Later, they are walking back home. Junting reminds himself to not fall for her as he already has Zhu in his heart. Meanwhile, Xian continues to tease him and even leans towards him as if she is going to kiss him, but stops as she tells him that what if she fell in love with him. Junting answers that it won't ever happen and tries to hide his embarrassment. Later, Junting is at a party with his seniors when he receives a call from Xian, who asks if he wants to grab dinner with her, but Junting turns down by saying that he is at a party. But just then, Junting's senior grabs his phone and tries to talk to Xian while being drunk, but Junting grabs back his phone. The drunk senior is too drunk and wants to vomit, so Junting takes him outside where Xian arrives a few minutes later. Junting's senior tries to hit on her but is turned, but he keeps on pestering her. So Xian grabs Junting and is about to take him away, but the cocky senior stops them, which makes Xian angry, so she threatens him with a bottle of alcohol in her hand. But Junting stops her, takes the bottle away from her hand and starts drinking it. After taking a few sips, he hands it to the senior and asks him to chug it if he's a real man. The senior has to defend his manly ego, so he starts chugging it, and in the meantime, Xian and Junting disappear from the scene. They keep on running till eventually they stop by an alley where Junting questions Xian if she is crazy by attacking a person with a glass bottle. He reminds her of the consequences, which makes Xian start to cry as she tells Junting that she didn't want to cause a problem this time, but due to her bad behavior, she caused yet another problem this time. Seeing her cry makes all of Junting's anger vanish as he tells her that she can rely on him the next time she's in trouble. Leaving that scene behind, he asks Xian how she knew where he was, to which Xian answers that she knew because of the banners indicating all the different departments and their back to university parties. This makes Junting realize that Zhu must be here as well, so he tries to look for her. He runs through all the different banners and finally finds the banner of the literature department, where he finds Zhu chatting with her friends. Zhu also notices him and gives him a big smile, which makes Junting smile too, but unfortunately, Zhu's smile is not targeted towards him. Xian, who is behind him, gets recognized by Zhu. Zhu tells her that her younger sister is a big fan of hers and blah blah, and starts talking about the rumors as to why Xian left the Dream Suite idol group. This makes Xian upset, so she badmouths Zhu and leaves. Zhu and Junting don't go after her and instead start talking to each other as they haven't seen each other for a week. Soon, Junting looks at his phone and realizes that it's already 2 at night, so he asks Zhu where she will go as her house is 1.5 hours away and the bus service is closed at this time. Zhu answers that she will crash at one of her friend's houses, but that friend doesn't pick up her call, so they have no way but to head to Junting's house before they grab some snacks and drinks to apologize to Xian. Xian accepts Zhu's apology after Junting pleads for her as they head inside. They chit for a while drinking, which makes both the girls drunk as they make up with each other and befriend themselves. Xian heads outside to take a breath of fresh air as Junting runs after her as it's cold outside. There, he finds Xian crying that her friends leave her as soon as they can, so she has always been lonely. Junting gives her his shoulder to cry on. However, in his heart, he starts feeling for her and wants to know about her past. The following morning, Junting wakes up and takes a shower to refresh himself. All the alcohol that he drinks during the night affects him as he cleanses his teeth. Soon, he comes out of the bathroom and he notices Xian sitting on the couch. He is reminded of yesterday night and blushes as he asks her about where Zhu is. Xian answers that Zhu left as she wanted to go back as early due to her strict parents. Junting understands and is about to sit when Xian asks him if he has seen her lighter. Junting saw it yesterday, so he guides her and also gives her the pack of smokes that he found with it. Xian takes it from his hand, looks inside and then throws it in the toilet. Junting wants to ask her about it, but he stops and runs outside the house to throw the trash. There he screams to himself that he only befriended her for money and shouldn't care about her past life. Meanwhile, Xian looks at him and smiles as she asks him if he wants to grab dinner with her at night. Time passes by as it's already been more than a month since Xian came into his life. One day, Junting is heading to class when his passing friends tease him about having a girlfriend, by which they mean Xian. Talk of the devil, Xian happens to arrive at the scene with Zhu, which makes Xian very happy. He heads towards them and starts chatting as Xian tells him that she wants to go and visit cherry blossoms. Zhu also accompanies them as the trio walks through a row filled with cherry blossom trees. There they take a few photos with each other and spend some peaceful time. Junting is enjoying his time till Zhu reminds him that their midterms are getting closer. This instantly ruins Junting's mood as he becomes depressed. But he realizes that it's a chance to study together with Zhu, so he asks her if they can study together in the library, but Zhu tells her that he should study with someone who belongs to his major and refuses his offer. Later, Xian asks Junting if he likes Zhu, which comes as a shocker to him as he didn't expect someone to notice it. Xian looks at him and then asks that he must know why she rejected him. Junting answers that he knows that she probably doesn't like him. To cheer him up, Xian shows him the pictures that she took of Zhu and him, which she sends to Zhu. Zhu, who is heading home, looks at them and smiles, but when she looks at his picture with Junting, she deletes it. Meanwhile, Xian grabs Junting's hand and walks with him as he tries to remind himself that she is just being kind to him. One day, Junting comes home from university when he is stopped by one of his neighbors, Yoons, who tells him that he arranged for a triple mixer date, so he better get ready. Junting doesn't even get the chance to decline, so he has no option but to comply with his wishes. Later, Junting is in his room when suddenly Xian barges in without even knocking and asks him if he is going on that date. Junting answers that he is forced to go, so he has no option. Xian tells him that she has something for him, so she asks him to go get a quick shower. Junting comes back as Xian is ready with her entire grooming kit. She trims his eyebrows, puts a face mask on his face, and does much more, while she is playing with him as if he is a doll. Junting looks at her as his heart starts to beat loudly. If this isn't enough, Xian even teases him by saying that she is forbidding him to get a girlfriend or she will be lonely. But Junting answers that they will still be friends, so there shouldn't be a problem, but Xian reminds him that they aren't just friends, as no friends would hold hands together. Junting immediately blushes and thinks to himself if Xian is messing with him or if there is truth in her words. Meanwhile, in a karaoke room, 3 girls and 2 girls are singing and drinking as one of the girls, Ruoni, looks at the guys and doesn't find them even a bit interesting. She is getting bored, but then suddenly, Junting enters the room and his charming looks and cool personality immediately attract Ruoni. Junting makes a seat amongst the boys, but the girls flock to him and notice that he has a beautiful face, so they start to do makeup on him and even put lipstick on him. Later, they all sing one by one, and after hearing Junting's singing voice, Ruoni falls for him and thinks to herself that she needs to make a first move. Later, they are playing a game called Wedlock Wine, where the boys and girls will pair up and spin the bottle, and whoever it lands towards will have to drink in an embarrassing position. The last turn falls to Ruoni and Junting, who now have to share the drink by kissing each other. At first, Ruoni tries to turn it down as she doesn't want to look like a cheap woman, but after the other group members cheer her up, she finally agrees to do it. She puts the drink in her mouth and leans forward to kiss Junting, who also leans forward, but Xian's image pops in his mind, causing him to hesitate. Ruoni, who is just about to touch Junting's lips, accidentally gulps down the drink in nervousness. Their friend group starts to boo her as she couldn't complete the challenge. This makes her even more fired up as she drinks yet another shot, and this time she comes in fast towards Junta, who thinks to himself that is it worth it, and at the last moment stops her. After seeing everyone's shocked expressions, he quickly explains to them that he has never kissed a girl before, so he wants to make it more memorable. He also yaps about how he would feel embarrassed if people were to ask him about his favorite kiss. And he told them that he gave it to a random person whom he just met due to a game. The group understands his concerns, but the game is a game, so Junting is forced to accept the punishment, which is him going to another karaoke room and singing the entire song there. Meanwhile, Ruoni is in the room thinking to herself that she just fumbled such a cute guy like Junting. After the party ends, they all are about to head home, but Ruoni tells them that she has drunk way too much and can't walk straight. Junting offers to walk her home, which she hurriedly accepts. After saying farewells to other group members, they walk towards Ruoni's house as she asks Junting if he has ever dated before. Junting answers that he hasn't, but he had a crush on a girl in middle school, but he never confessed to her, so that love remained unrequited. This hurt him so much that throughout his entire high school, he didn't try dating and kept himself safe for her, but alas, perseverance in love always doesn't pay off. After hearing his story, Ruoni tells him that acquiring love isn't too good either, as she recently went through a breakup. That's why she wanted to move on and decided on this triple date thing. Seeing that her head is down, Junting suspects that she might be crying, so he pulls her away from her face to look at her, but finds that she is not crying. This reminds him that girl's hair is smooth and silky, and wonders if Sayan's hair is the same. After dropping Ruoni at her house, Junting is about to head home when he remembers that he hasn't texted Xian. He pulls out his phone to text her back, but in the end, decides to send a voice note. Unfortunately, his phone dies as it's an iPhone 6 from like 10 years ago. He immediately rushes back home and finds that Xian is waiting for him. He greets her as she asks him if he enjoyed the party. Junting answered that it was really fun and he drank a lot, but he walks on the pavement to tell her that he is still sober. After his little walk, he sits beside her as Xian notices the lipstick on his lips, which makes Junting surprised as he thinks that he cleaned it off. He tells her how the party went and how he even played the wedlock wine game but immediately stops. Sheehan asks him how the game went, but Juntang answers that it is a secret. Seeing him act like this makes Sheehan tease him even more as she tells him that his innocence tempts her to do a lot of things to him as she leans forward and pecks his lips. Juntang responds passionately as he loses his first kiss to the mysterious girl about whom he still doesn't even know much. After kissing for a while, they both stop as Sheehan stands up and heads inside. Meanwhile, Juntang sits outside still trying to comprehend what just happened. He decides to just go to sleep as he may forget about what happened when he wakes up in the morning. The following morning, Juntang wakes up and screams that he can't stop thinking about the kiss every time he closed his eyes. That scene came in front of his eyes. He walks outside of his room and sees Sheehan, which makes him remember the previous night once again, so he immediately grabs his bag and heads to the library so that he can split his attention by giving it to his study. However, even at the library, Juntang can't stop thinking about Sheehan. After studying for a while, in which most of the time he was just coping with what happened last night, he headed to the cafeteria to grab some food. Even while eating his food, last night's scenes flash before his eyes, which makes him give up on everything as he heads home and decides to confront Sheehan about it. He knocks on Sheehan's door as she opens it and looks at him. Juntang tells her that he wants to talk to her, so Sheehan invites him in to talk. Just as Juntang steps into the door, Sheehan asks him if it is about the kiss last night, which makes him fall on the floor. Juntang stands up and is about to walk when Sheehan once again asks him if it was his first kiss, which makes him fall on the floor once again. He quickly asks her if he is that bad, to which Sheehan replies that no, he is quite good in fact, as his lips are very soft. However, she quickly starts teasing him as she reminds him that when people ask him about his first kiss, he will answer that it was stolen from him on a cold bench outside his house by a random mysterious girl who lives downstairs. After seeing that, Juntang is almost close to crying. She stops and has him sit on the sofa as she brings him water. Juntang asks her about the signboard that he saw outside, which she put up to look for new housemate. Sheehan tells him that she wants to make new friends and doesn't want to be lonely anymore. Seeing her sad look makes Juntang feel pity for her, so he tells her that he will invite her to a barbecue party with Ju after the exams are finished. Sheehan is happy to hear this, but she still asks him if she can hold on to his hand. Juntang allows her as she grabs his hand and puts her head on his shoulder. Later, Juntang is at university where he meets Shu, who invites him to head to the library together. There, Juntang realizes that their seats are too far away, but he is still glad to be with Shu. While they are waiting in line, one of Shu's male friends comes up to her and invites her for lunch. He also acts quite close with Shu, which makes Juntang jealous and angry, so he runs away after making an excuse. He feels betrayed by Shu, but he quickly laughs at himself for being a hypocrite as he just kissed a girl a day ago. In a flashback, Juntang and Ju are still in middle school as they walk back towards Ju's house. They are chit-chatting and acting much closer than they act in university while on their way to Ju's house, where Ju suddenly stops and looks at the man in front of her, who is her father. Ju's father badmouths Ju for bringing a boy home and tells her that she is just like her mother, a despicable woman. This makes Ju very angry, so she throws her bag at her father and runs away with Juntang holding his hand. They stop in front of a park where Juntang asks about it, but Ju skips it and asks him to just forget that it ever happened. Back to the present time, Juntang is still sulking in the room thinking about Ju and his past when Ju comes up to him and tells him that she wants to bring him somewhere. She takes him to the building's rooftop, where Ju tells him that she loves this spot as it shows the entire city view. While they are enjoying the view, Ju admits that she wasn't planning on bringing him here as she was afraid that she might say something inappropriate to him, but then suddenly her mind changed and she brought him here. But before Juntang can ask her what she wants to say, Ju leaves without explaining. Outside, Ju talks to herself as she questions herself as to how she can confess her feelings to Juntang. She knows that she wants to be with him and she loves him very much, but sadly they can't be together. So that's why she hopes that Juntang can understand her tender feelings for him, and hopefully she shares the same feelings for her. Juntang, who is still upset about what she was going to say, crashes at home after the exams and is sleeping when Shane wakes him up and tells him that she is getting bored. While she is still pestering him, she hears the doorbell and heads outside to find that it's the new housemate. She also asks Juntang to come meet her, so he heads outside and finds that it is none other than Rowney. In a flashback, Rowney is looking through a lot of ads for apartments on her phone when she passes by Juntang's house and looks at the signboard placed by Sheehan. She rings the doorbell to inquire about it. Sheehan opens the door and looks at her. Rowney is stunned by her beauty as she tells her that she is here to look for a house. So can she allow her to visit her section? Sheehan becomes immediately happy and takes her inside as she apologizes to her for the house being messy. After seeing the room, Rowney becomes stunned as it is filled with so many expensive brand stuff. Sheehan looks at her amazed expression and tells her that she can take some of them if she likes them. Back to the present. Rowney and Junting are both shocked to see each other, which surprises Cheyenne, who didn't know that they were acquainted with each other. While Rowney is moving her stuff inside, Junting offers to help her, but she refuses to take his help and angrily stares at him. This reminds Junting that he didn't reply to her message the other day as he was too stunned by that kiss with Cheyenne and forgot about her. He decides that he needs to make up with her, so he asks her if she wants to go and have dinner with him and Cheyenne today. Rowney looks at his expression and realizes that he is trying to make up for his mistakes, so she starts cooking an evil plan in her mind. Later, she makes him drink way too much, so he gets drunk. And this time, Junting is drunk and he starts acting all weird. Cheyenne looks at them and decides to head outside to get fresh air. However, in her mind, she feels uncomfortable seeing Junting act so close to someone other than her. Just then, Rowney and Junting walk outside and Junting is too drunk. He tells Rowney that he is apologetic about the other day as that night was too unforgettable for him. Rowney mistakes his words for herself, even though Junting is talking about Cheyenne here. He tells Rowney that after that night, he fell in love with her and he blames her for appearing in his life at sudden moments and making his heart beat every time. Saying this, he falls on her shoulders, but Cheyenne grabs him and assures Rowney that she will take care of him. Cheyenne takes him home and puts him on his bed. She then asks him to make space for her as she lies beside him and looks at his drunk face. Meanwhile, Junting also looks at her pretty face and pulls her in for a kiss. Cheyenne lays in arms as she asks him if they should make their relationship official, but Junting tells her that he doesn't know and asks her if she likes him. Cheyenne answers that he is exactly her type and she's infatuated with him. She then asks him if he likes her, but Junting falls asleep before answering her. The following morning, Junting wakes up and finds Cheyenne snuggled into his sheets. He smiles and looks at her sleeping face and can't help but fall in love even more. After putting away his thoughts, Junting stands up and is about to head outside when Cheyenne stops him and tells him that she is awake too and assures him that they did nothing last night. They both walk outside the room and are walking downstairs when Rowney looks at them as the trash bag falls from her hands. She asks them shockingly if they were in the same room last night, which makes Junting realize that she might have misunderstood them. So he immediately tries to defend himself, but Cheyenne makes it even worse by adding unnecessary context to the scene. Later, Junting is in his room looking through Shia's past, but he can't find any reason as to why she quit the music out of nowhere. So he decides to call the only person he knows who was obsessed with Shia in the past. He calls Gujo, who was his high school friend back in the day. Gujo picks up the phone and calls Junting a traitor for being accepted into a university while he is still a useless bum. Junting skips his rambling and instead asks him about Cheyenne. Gujo tells him that he doesn't like her anymore, even though Junting tells him that he is living with Cheyenne to tempt him. But Gujo doesn't fall for his trap and cuts off the call. Junting is disappointed, so he has to search on his own as he learns about Cheyenne's rude behavior with the press and her fans. He is looking through more stuff when suddenly Cheyenne comes up to him, gives him a light peck on his lips, and moves on to open the door as if nothing happened. However, Junting in his heart thinks about how much longer they both can pretend that nothing is happening. Later, Gujo heads to Junting's home to deliver some food that her mother made for Junting. He rings the doorbell as Junting looks through the camera and finds that it's Gujo, so he heads alone as he can't let the obsessive Gujo find out that Cheyenne lives here. He receives the food that his mother sent and walks inside while letting Gujo in. Gujo is also about to walk away when he hears a female voice, so he jumps over the fence to enter the house. He walks through the backyard, arrives at the back, and finds that it's none other than her favorite idol, Cheyenne. Gujo is shocked and opens the door to head inside, but is stopped by Junting. He tells her that he is trespassing and is kicked out by Cheyenne, who looks at him with disgust. Later, Gujo once again returns with a pack of fresh tuna, but Junting doesn't accept it, so he is about to walk away, but he notices Cheyenne coming out of her room, so he gives it to her. Cheyenne accepts it, but the next moment, she throws it on the ground and reminds him that she didn't ask him to bring it to her. Gujo becomes mad at her for disrespecting him like this and is about to get toxic, but Junting stops him. Seeing that his friend is siding with a chick that he just met a few months ago over to his best friend, Gujo feels betrayed and leaves by saying that their friendship is over. After Gujo leaves, Junting looks at Cheyenne, who is still shaking, and consoles her that everything is fine. Cheyenne becomes normal after a few minutes and asks Junting if he has any plans. He answers that he will be running a booth with Zhu in the culture festival, but Cheyenne asks him to cancel the plan and instead asks him to hang out with her on a date. In a flashback, Junting and Zhu are walking down the hallway as Zhu asks him to carry some old books and diaries for her. They are walking while chit-chatting when suddenly Zhu slips and is about to fall down the stairs, but Junting grabs her and saves her. They both started to laugh as it was quite embarrassing. Zhu takes this time to ask Junting if he will be willing to help her in her booth on the Culture Festival day, to which Junting immediately agrees as he would love to spend more time with her. Back to the present time, Junting is waiting for Cheyenne at the university when she arrives while dressed up like a supermodel. Junting immediately becomes self-conscious, so he gives her his cap and jacket so she wouldn't catch that much attention as it would ruin their day. Meanwhile, Sheehan teases him by saying that he is quite a traditional man. After joking around, they start going through each stall and have the best time of their life. After spending almost the whole day goofing around, they are heading outside when Rowney spots them holding hands together. She realizes that she has got no chance and can only wish them good luck. As it's already night, Sheehan and Junting are heading back while Sheehan keeps teasing him. Junting, who is tired of her teasing, asks her if she really means it or if she just likes to make fun of him. Sheehan comes close to him and whispers that she likes him so much that she is willing to kiss him. Junting blushes and tells her that if he has a girlfriend he would do more than just kissing, which makes Sheehan ask what's that, but of course, Junting can't say it as he's not shameless. Meanwhile, Ju, who has just finished her work, is about to head back when her gaze falls on Sheehan and Junting acting so close. She is probably the first one to notice that the scene has started to shift. Just as Sheehan and Junting are about to head home, Sheehan hears music nearby and decides to check it out. It turns out to be an after-festival event where the host comes onto the stage and informs everyone that they can claim a $300 coupon if they were to come onto the stage and confess their feelings to their crush or sing a song. Junting jokes around that only someone crazy would confess on a big stage like this, but gets shocked when Sheehan starts to walk ahead and crawls through the crowd to reach the stage. The host is surprised to see such a beautiful person come to the stage and quickly asks her team to tell them if she's a celebrity or what. She learns from the team that she is an idol and tells everyone that they have a celebrity on their stage. Sheehan fans are also hyped up as they start cheering for her. The host asks Sheehan if she wants to confess her feelings to her crush or perhaps sing a song. Sheehan tells her that she wants to sing a song and grab the mic but is unable to sing. The host feels awkward as Sheehan is just standing there as she doesn't know how to handle this. Fortunately, Ju arrives on the stage, grabs the mic from Sheehan's hand, and tells everyone that she is Ju, Sheehan's friend, and would like to take it from here. She also informs the host that she is from the council, so she has the right to be here. The host asks the crowd to cheer for Ju as she asks her if she wants to confess to her crush or perhaps sing a song. Ju tells the crowd that even though she has someone she likes here, she won't confess, as confession is a personal matter, so instead she chooses to sing. She proudly claims that she was the songbird of her high school and starts singing, but her voice is extremely pitched, which makes everyone put their fingers into their ears. While Ju is distracting the crowd with her terrible singing, Sheehan walks off the stage as Junting grabs her and takes her to the side where bursts into tears. The following day, later in the night, he asks her if she's fine, but Sheehan doesn't answer, so he is about to leave when suddenly Sheehan grabs him and takes him inside. Junting reminds her that Crownie might misunderstand, but Sheehan asks him to stay with her for a while. While Sheehan is hugging him, Junting's heart starts beating like a train engine. In the heat of the moment, he pulls her even closer and kisses her. However, he stops and sits beside her and looks at crystal clear eyes which are still like water. He realizes that he is the only one who is feeling butterflies in his stomach this whole time. He changes the topic as he asks her if she ate anything today, to which she half-heartedly replies. He thinks that she might be upset by what happened, so he tells her that no one saw what happened and that she isn't in the limelight. He also informs her that Ju took the whole hit for her as she's now being called the songbird of their university. He also reminds her to thank Ju for saving her from the embarrassment and that tough moment, but Sheehan gets offended and asks him why she should thank Ju and that she didn't need to save her. Junting can't understand her anger, so he asks her why she is so upset, but instead, he receives a question from Sheehan, who asks him to tell her why she is upset. Junting can't understand how her mind works, so he just leaves the room, which stuns Rowney, who is outside, and wonders what happened between them, as just yesterday they were acting all lovey-dovey. The following morning, Junting is heading to university when Sheehan comes and hugs him from behind. She apologizes to him for what happened last night, but Junting tells her that it was partially his fault and leaves. Sheehan tries to stop him, but he reminds her that he has classes, so he must go. Later at night, Junting helps Ju as he promised her yesterday. After talking to Ju, he realizes that he still has feelings for her. Later, they are walking while talking about how the whole university is trolling her when suddenly a car passes by as Junting pulls Ju back by grabbing her hand. He realizes this and quickly hands her a macaron and walks away, leaving behind a Sheehan who is full of smiles. Later, Junting is walking in the hallway when he notices a huge crowd, so he heads towards it only to find that they are gathered for Sheehan. Sheehan finds him and asks him if he wants to grab some drinks together. But before Junting can say anything, he notices that crazy senior from the first few episodes and immediately escapes, grabbing Sheehan's hand. After escaping, Sheehan notices them from outside and walks away, but stops when she hears the sound of a flash. She realizes that it must be some paparazzi, so he immediately escapes and gets to the home. Junting accompanies Rowney to home as she is incapable of walking straight after drinking so much. Rowney is blushing as she is so close to Junting, but she constantly reminds herself that he is probably out of her league and promises to not fall for him. Just then, someone passes by them as Junting grabs Rowney to protect her. They walk ahead and find Sheehan, who looks at them so close and laughs hysterically. A few days pass by, but Sheehan is still in a sour mood. Rowney isn't far off better as they both feel out of character. Junting, who is stuck between them, decides to do something to make their mood better, so he decides to throw a barbecue party to which both girls agree. However, they realize that 3 people aren't enough, so they decide to invite Ju and others too. Sheehan wants to have some seafood as well, so Junting invites Gujo too, whose parents own a seafood shop. Gujo apologizes to Sheehan for the last time, and this time she accepts his apology without disrespecting him. Their neighbor, Yoons, arrives as well as everyone gets ready for the party. They all enjoy the food and music and also talk about various subjects. One such subject is how celebrities live, so they each give their opinion. After hearing their opinions, Sheehan steps in and informs them that even though a celebrity's life feels so glamorous in reality, they suffer from great depression as they are harassed by paparazzi all the time. Aside from that, they are also harassed by trollers who spread misinformation about them on the internet. The atmosphere becomes still for a second, and this makes them able to hear the sound of the camera flash as Junting realizes that the person who has been harassing Sheehan is here. He sneaks in towards him and grabs his camera, but the stalker runs away, so Junting chases after him and barely manages to catch him. They go through his camera and it's photos of different females, and the recent ones only belong to Sheehan. Junting is about to call the cops, but Sheehan tells him it's not worth it as they can never do anything about the paparazzi. Aside from that, she wants to take care of this loser by herself, but she is stopped by Junting, who tells her that they live in a lawful society. However, this only upsets Sheehan as she leaves. Ju, who is watching all of this, can't stand it anymore and grabs the bottle and smashes it on the stalker's head. This shocks everyone as they look at Ju with a shocked face. While Ju and Gujo are bullying the stalker, Yoons informs Junting about the consequences of threatening someone and even physically harming them with a weapon. So he advises Junting to not call the police as it would only make the matter worse for them. In a flashback, Sheehan is surrounded by news reporters as she leaves the conference. In the next moment, she is in the dressing room where the makeup artists are finishing her makeup, but her manager isn't satisfied as she feels that her current dress is still too modest. This makes Sheehan so mad that she throws all the accessories on the ground and immediately quits. Outside, she tries smoking but can't even take a single inhale without coughing, so she drops it on the floor. Back to the present, Junting enters Sheehan's room and tells her about what happened, how Ju beat up the guy, how they interrogated him, took all of his information, and even had him sign a contract. So after handing everything to her, he leaves the matter in her own hands and is about to leave, but Sheehan hugs him from behind. She asks him if she can kiss him on the lips, but Junting doesn't allow her, so she asks him to give his hand to her as she kisses on it instead. She then places the hand on her cheek and feels his warmth. Seeing him blushing so hard makes Sheehan laugh at him as she looks at him with her beautiful eyes. After this experience, Sheehan becomes cheerful once again and even forms a close relationship with Rowney and Ju. Meanwhile, Yoons reminds Junting that an idol like Sheehan has seen too much in her short life, so he must quickly make his move before it's too late. One day, Sheehan crashes at home after his last exam. Sheehan comes up to him and asks if he was awake the whole night. Sheehan answers that he spent the last entire week without much sleep, so he now just wants to sleep for a long time. He also wishes that he could take a year's gap, so he wouldn't have to suffer like this. This makes Sheehan ask him if he wants to go on a vacation with her. Junting is too sleepy to refuse, so he only says yes. Sheehan then asks him where he wants to go, to which Junting replies wherever she wants to go. However, Sheehan teases him by saying that means that will be happy wherever she is with him together, to which Junting answers yes unknowingly, which makes Sheehan's face red out of embarrassment. Later, Ju crashes at their place as she asks Sheehan if she can stay there for a month or two. Sheehan has a spare room, so she gives it to Ju, who is very happy to take it. Meanwhile, Junting gets ready to go to the semester end party, but while on his way, he thinks about his relationship with Ju and Sheehan and feels extremely conflicted. Junting walks through the pathways and reaches a weird open club thingy where he once again stumbles into Rowney. Now that he is here, he decides to accompany her, but noticing the tension between them, he decides to lighten up the atmosphere as he tells her that he believes that there is a mysterious force at work here who brings people together like Cupid. Rowney thinks to herself that he might be talking about her, but soon realizes that he was just trying to lighten up the atmosphere and can't help but laugh at herself. This also makes her realize that if she wants Junting for herself, she needs to try harder. So she grabs Junting's arm and forcibly takes him to a famous fountain where all the people come to visit. Meanwhile, Young can't comprehend what's going on inside a woman's head, and maybe that's why he fell in love with she. The following morning, Junting carries Rowney back home, who is extremely drunk. Xian is waiting for them outside, and after seeing them together she looks at them with a judging expression as Junting shakes his head and tries to explain what happened. Surprisingly, Xian leaves them without saying much. Instead, she just asks Junting to get some sleep first and then meet her at 4 o'clock. Junting immediately heads to his room, goes to sleep, and wakes up after his alarm goes off. Afterward, he casually dresses up in a sweatshirt and heads outside where Xian is waiting for him. She is hungry, so she takes him to a cafe where she eats some cake and has some coffee with it while Junting explains to her what happened last night. After hearing his story, she trusts him and decides to let him go. After chatting around, they are walking outside when Xian asks him if he wants to head to a movie or an arcade. Junting asks her to choose anything, so she decides to have some drinks. At first, Junting is hesitant, but after Xian tries to act all cute and beg for his attention, he gives in as they head to a bar/restaurant. There they have some fruit wine, which quickly makes her drunk as she tries to grab Junting's hands, but he pulls it back. She looks at him and tells him that she invited him today just not to interrogate him, but that she wanted to ask him about his opinion. She informs him that she is going to meet a friend and asks if she should do it or not. Junting asks her what type of friend, which makes Xian tease him by asking if he would prefer a male one or a female one. Instead of answering her question right away, Junting heads to the washroom to wash his face. He returns and finds all sorts of men trying to hit on her. However, Xian rejects them by saying that she is on a date. Seeing this, Junting walks up to Xian and stops the guy from pestering her, who asks him to mind his own business, but instead of saying anything to him, he tells Xian that he would prefer it if it was a girl. Xian immediately becomes happy and grabs his arm as she tells the guy that her date is here. The dude looks at Junting and gets shocked as he is way too underdressed. But this only makes Junting angry as he yells at her that he was dragged from his half-sleep to come here. After the guy leaves, Xian informs Junting that the friend is one of the members of her idol group. Later, they head home where Xian starts throwing up as she is too hung up. However, even then she heads out to meet her friend. In a flashback, Xian finally debuts in her dream idol group alongside her friend Ziyun, who is also extremely passionate about idol stuff. After their debut, they head out to have drinks, and while they are overlooking the city, Ziyun asks Xian when they will be able to afford an expensive apartment in that rich area. While they are talking about their dreams, people behind them start clicking their pictures. Xian is weirded out about it, but Ziyun tells her that if they want to grow, they need to expose themselves to the public. Thus starts Xian's journey as an idol as she quickly grows to become one of the top idols in the country. However, with fame comes its troubles as Xian starts being harassed by paparazzis who try to defame the celebrity. Even when she complains about it to authorities, they tell them that as a celebrity she has no privacy and shouldn't expect one. Xian is tired of this trashy world and decides to quit it. Ziyun chases after her and tries to stop her, but Xian has already made up her mind and leaves. Back to the present time, Xian finally meets up with Ziyun after a long time, who looks at her appearance, which doesn't fit the image of an idol at all. She asks him if she is happy with her current life, to which Xian replies that she is happy. So Ziyun stands up and leaves as she tells her that she should stay happy. After Ziyun leaves, Xian bursts into tears as she feels as if she has been liberated from a burden. She heads outside and finds that it's still raining. At first, she pulls out her umbrella, but then decides to go without it, as throughout the entire way she feels extremely happy. After arriving home, Junting asks her if she is okay as she's all wet from the rain, but Shinya instead holds onto his hand and pulls him into a kiss. Unfortunately, this romantic moment is interrupted by Rowney, who opens the door and looks at them. Xian immediately throws Junting at the side and acts as if nothing happened. Junting also makes an excuse and heads inside as he looks at the text that he just received from Xian, who asks him where they should go for their next date. While he is grinning like crazy, he suddenly receives a phone call from his dad, who asks him to come meet his family as it's his mom's birthday. Junting heads to his family where they have a nice lunch at a restaurant. Junting's parents ask about his grades and studies. Meanwhile, his younger sister acts like a menace and teases him by saying that he still wouldn't have gotten a girlfriend as he is too crazy after that Jew girl who doesn't even care for him. Junting tells them that it's not like that, but his words only go over their heads. Later, Junting is at his family's home when he receives a call from Xian, who just wants to hear his voice. Junting asks her if she is happy now that she listened to his voice, to which Xian answers that she is ticking off things from her bucket list and this was one of them. Aside from that, she tells him that one of her wishes is to fall in love with a person who will confess to her grandly with a bouquet of pink roses while they are surrounded by candles. Junting immediately becomes sure that Xian is in love with him, or otherwise who would be crazy enough to give signs like this. Later, Junting is invited to a party, which brings us to the start of the show where Junting and Xian leave to get some drinks and ice cream, and while they are returning, Xian can't hold it in anymore and starts to kiss him. However, this is seen by Zhu, who finds out about their relationship. The following morning, Zhu is helping Rowney in cleaning up the mess as she asks Xian if she is dating Junting, to which she replies that they aren't a couple yet, which gives a slight hope to Zhu, so she finally decides to confront Junting about her feeling. Later, Junting is in his class when he receives a text from Zhu who asks him to come and meet her, so Junting heads to that place where Zhu is waiting for him. There Zhu confesses to him that she likes him and she has liked him for a while now. She also mentions that she couldn't confess earlier due to her family problems. She also mentions that she is going to take a break from university and focus on her work life so she can become free from her family and have an actual future with him. However, Junting is too shocked and can't comprehend. Meanwhile, Zhu keeps going and asks him to head out to watch a movie with her, to which Junting accepts her request as he also wants to clear up things with her. The following day, they head out to watch a movie, and after the movie, they head out to have dinner together. Later, they are walking back home when Zhu asks him to meet her next Friday as there will be a fireworks show on that day. However, Junting rejects her as he tells her that he already has someone he likes, which makes Zhu start to cry as she tells him that she wasn't going to confess to him, but when she saw him with another girl, her heart couldn't take it anymore, so she decided to confess to him. She tells him to come meet her at the fireworks show and that she will wait for him there. Junting arrives home where he finds Xian waiting for him, who asks him if he was on a date with Zhu and that she confessed to him. Junting is shocked and tells her that it indeed happened. After making sure that Junting is still in love with her, Xian leaves the poor boy alone. On Friday, Zhu is waiting for Junting, who arrives a bit late. This makes Zhu very happy, but after hearing that Junting has brought her mom to their date, she breaks down and asks him how he could do it. He tells her that her mother tricked Xian into telling her everything about her. So in the end, he decided that it was best if they met. Zhu meets up with her mother, who doesn't punish her but instead hugs her gently. Junting is happy for her and leaves. Later, he is waiting at home all alone as all the other people have gone watch fireworks when Zhu arrives and thanks him. However, she is still angry at him, so as punishment she takes him to the same rooftop where they went last time, and there she breaks down into tears as she confesses to him. Junting is also reminded of all the memories that he spent with Zhu during his school years and starts crying as he tells her that he loved her, but that love is only there for a time and sadly she missed it. This confession also allows Junting to realize his feelings about Xian as well, so he immediately runs to the house where Xian returns with Rowney and others. Junting looks at her and tells her that he likes her, and in response, Xian kisses him on the cheek and tells him that she loves him too. The following day, Zhu leaves and heads back to her family. Meanwhile, Xian asks Junting to perfectly propose to her with a bouquet of pink roses, and as a reward, she will give him whatever he wants. Junting feels as if someone has pumped Red Bull into his veins as he runs to the flower shop, buys a bouquet of pink roses, and returns. There he properly confesses his love to her as the series comes to its end. That's all for today. If you enjoyed our video, give us